Alright, today we are going to be writing our own linear equations. Okay? And when we write them, we are always going to have them in slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? Good. Y equals mx plus b. So anytime we write an equation, we're going to write it in this form. And what are the two things we need to write this equation? Slope and what? Not slope-intercept, y-intercept. Good. You're good. So these are the two things that we need. And once we have these two things, we can write the equation. So for number 1, do they give us either one of these?
Yes.
They give us what?
Slope.
So we can write m equals -5. Is this the y-intercept?
No.
How do you know?
Because it's at -3.
Good. And this has to be what for it?
0.
Yeah, it has to be 0 for it to be the y-intercept. Good. So we're going to use this equation up here to find the y-intercept because don't we have a y in this problem? What's our y? Good. And what's our x? Good. And we have an m, correct? So we're only missing the b. So we could fill all this in for this formula to solve for b. For example, instead of y equals, I'm going to put what? -8 equals. Instead of m, I'm going to put what? Instead of x, and then plus b. So this would be -8 equals what plus b? 15 plus b, and then to solve for b, we would do what? Good. That's going to give us what? Good. Any questions about how we solve for b? So now we have the two things we need, correct? We have slope, we have y-intercept. Now tell me how I would write that in the formula. Very good. So we have wrote an equation that has a slope of -5. We can see that because it's beside the x. That passes through this point. Now how would we check to see if it passes through this point? You could graph it, but what's the shorter way? How else could we tell besides graphing it? You could plug these in and it'll give you an equal equation. So let's plug it in together. You don't have to write this down. Instead of y, I would put what? -8 equals -5 times what? What's our x? And then together, tell me what this would be. Positive 15 minus 23 would give us what? -8. See, it works out. I'm not saying you have to check it on everything, but it helped to like plug it in your head to make sure it works. Questions about that one? Alright, the next one. Do they give us slope or y-intercept? They don't give you slope. Do they give you y-intercept? Yes. How do we know which one's the y-intercept? Good. X is 0, right? So what is b? 1. Good. So we have the y-intercept. We're just missing the slope. So we can use y equals mx plus b to find which letter? M. Tell me what to plug in for y. 3. Good. That came from right here. Equals m times what letter? Plus what? 1. So we would have 3 equals what? Plus 1. Then we would do what? So we would get 2 equals -2m. So m would be what? Good. There's another way we could have found the slope. What's the other way? Yeah, either one. Y'all just speak up. Yes, by using what formula? Yes, we could have used the slope formula to find the slope since they give us 2 points. So, for example, give me what y y'all want to go first. It really doesn't matter which one. 1 minus what? Over? 0 minus what? Good, negative 2. So 1 minus 3 would give us what? Negative 2. On bottom, this would change to plus plus, right? So it'd be 2. And when you divide these, you'll get... So you can work it 2 different ways to get the slope. Whichever way you think is easier. And now somebody tell me the final equation. Good. Negative x came from right here, 1 came from right here. Alright, y'all feel good about these? Alright, try 3 and 4 on your own. Let me know if you need help. If anybody wants to check theirs by graphing and don't remember how to graph on your calculator, just let me know. And I can show you. Compare your equations with the people around you. So ask them what they got for theirs. If you're still working, that's fine. Keep working. Looks good. Keep going. This looks good. So this is the what that you found. Good. So anytime you're trying to find the what intercept or slope, you can always use this equation. So for example, you can pick anything. So tell me a y. Pick something. Alright, equals. Push M.
Y equals negative.
Good. Go ahead and solve for that. So this would be 7 equals. Good. Now how did you solve for B? Good. Go ahead. Alright, let's bring it in. Simon, tell me the equation you got for number 3.
Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 4.
Raise your hand if you got this. Do I need to go over this one?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the slope they already give us, correct? We just have to find the what? Y-intercept. Brandon, tell me what these two are.
6 is x.
Good. So what formula could we use to find our y-intercept?
Y equals
Good. So we could plug in what for y? For m?
negative 2/3.
For x?
6.
Good. And y'all remember how I taught y'all to multiply fractions, right? So Abigail, blonde Abigail, tell me what 6 divided by 3 is.
2.
And then negative 2 divided by 1. Good. Everybody see what I did there? So Nicole, tell me what that would be. Negative 8 equals what? Good. And how would I solve for it? Good. So negative 8 plus 4 would give us that negative 4. So when you write your equation, you just use this as your slope. This is your y-intercept. Everybody good with that one? Alright, Catherine, what'd you get for your equation for number 4?
I didn't do that one.
Alright, let's do it together. That's okay. Alright, so what would you find first then, Catherine?
I don't know.
To find B, you would have to plug in like y and x and m, right? In this equation? But you only have a y and an x, so we need to find what first? Yes. How would we find that with these two?
You go y2
Mhm.
minus y1.
Tell me how to set that up.
7 plus 3 over negative 2 minus 3.
So that would be what on top?
10,
On bottom?
negative 5,
So my slope is?
negative
Good. Now tell me how to set up to find the y-intercept.
2. I don't know.
Yes, you do. We're going to use this formula. Do we have a y that they give us?
Negative 3,
Okay. M,
negative 2,
x.
3,
Good. So this would be negative 3 equals.
negative 6,
Good. To solve for B?
add 6.
You just did the whole thing by yourself?
Wow.
B is what?
3.
Good. So tell me the final equation then.
Y equals negative 2 x plus 6 or plus 3.
Good. Raise your hand if you got this on your own. Any questions about it? Okay. I need 2 volunteers. I don't have to do math. I just need some drawers. Alright, come on up. Who else is going to be brave?
No ma'am.
Alright, Caleb, come on up. I want you to draw 2 parallel lines on here. I want you to draw 2 perpendicular lines on the bottom graph. Go ahead. Alright, now draw a parallel line. Go ahead. Very good. Hey, Toby, come on in. And Caleb, draw 2 perpendicular lines on that one. Somebody help them out. Go ahead and help them out. You're going to draw the other line. Draw one line, Evan. You didn't help them at all. Did you tell them what a perpendicular line was?
It's not supposed to go the same direction as the.
It's supposed to do what?
It's supposed to cross.
Okay, draw a line that crosses Evan's line. So just draw another line that crosses through the one he drew. Thank you. Here you go. This is just what you're missing. This is what we're working on today. Alright, let's talk about these. Are these parallel lines? Yes? What is the slope of this line? Undefined. Good. What's the slope of this line? Undefined. Notice how they have the same slope? So in your first blank it says blank lines are lines that have the same slope. These would be what? Parallel. Go ahead and fill it in. Alright, now let's talk about perpendicular lines. What's the slope of this straight up and down one? Undefined. What's the slope of this one? 0. Now let me write this as a fraction, both of them, okay? This is just any number over 0, right? Let me just say like 1 over 0. And this is anything with 0 on top, correct? So let me just write 0 over 1. These are called what? Reciprocals. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. Now in this one it wouldn't matter because can 0 be negative? No. The next line is perpendicular. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. Let me fill these in and then we'll talk about what is a negative reciprocal. P.S. These might be on a quiz or a test, these definitions. Now remember I told y'all that last time, you were like, I don't remember y'all telling me that I had to memorize these definitions on the quiz. I'm telling you now. You'll have these on the quiz. Now, let's talk about, y'all know what reciprocals are, so obviously what's the reciprocal of 3 over 4? 4 over 3. So the negative reciprocal of 3 over 4 would be what? Negative 4 over 3. So you have to flip it and change the sign. So I'm going to name 2 more and y'all just tell me what the negative reciprocal is, okay? Negative 4. Good. You change the sign to a positive and you flip it. What's the negative reciprocal of 6 over 5? Good. Everybody understand what a negative reciprocal is? Okay. Flip it over. So we're going to be doing the same thing we did on the front. You're going to be writing linear equations. The only difference is they tell us that it's parallel to this line or perpendicular to this line. The only reason they give you this bit of information, and I want you to write this down, is to identify and what did we just talk about parallel and perpendicular lines? We can identify them by their what? Slope. Good. So this is only to identify the slope. That's the only reason they give you this. So for example, what is the slope of this line? Alright, our line that we are creating is going to be parallel to this. So what's the slope of our line going to be? Negative 4. Same thing, right? So we have our slope. We just don't have the what? Y-intercept. So tell me how to find that. Same thing as we just did. We're going to use what equation? Y equals mx plus b. What are we going to plug in for y? And for m? And for x. Good. So this would be 5 equals 8 plus b, and then we do what? Subtract 8, and b is what? Good. Sorry. So, Taryn, what's my equation? Negative 4x. Good. And instead of writing plus negative 3, we could just write what? Good. Minus 3. That's it. So this means that this line we created, it goes through this point, and it's parallel to this one. And I could see automatically it's parallel because they have what? Same slope. Good. Alright, for the next one. They say that it's perpendicular to this line. How do we find the slope of this line? This is in what form? Standard. Remember what the slope, the formula is when it's in standard form? What is it? Negative a over b. Good. Sid, what's our a in this one? So it's a negative 1. What's our b?
Negative 6.
Good. So 2 negatives will make a what? Positive slope. That's the slope of this line. It's not the slope of our line, because our line is perpendicular to this line. So our slope will be what? Good. Or you could just write negative 6. Does everybody see where I got this number from? Okay. So that's the slope of our line. Do we know the y-intercept of our line? No. So tell me how to set that up. Abigail, I can't remember your last name. Canada? Yes. Okay, tell me how to set that up.
Y-intercept.
Yeah, to find our y-intercept. What formula we use? You know this. Yeah, now tell me what to plug in for y.
4.
For m?
Negative 6.
For x?
2.
So we would get 4 equals what?
Negative 12.
Good. And then to solve for b?
Add
Good. And b would be what?
16.
Good. So, Sierra, tell me my final equation. Good. That's the slope, or excuse me, the equation that is perpendicular to this one. Any questions about those two? Alright, I want you to try 7 and 8 on your own. Make sure that when it says perpendicular, you don't use this slope. Okay? Go ahead and try 7 and 8 on your own. And I'll scroll back up if that needs to.
Your y-intercept, you can leave as a fraction as long as your slope is not, or excuse me, your y-intercept you can put as a decimal, as long as your slope is not a decimal.
Oh.
So what's negative 10 minus 4? What's 10 and 38? Yeah, just publish 10 and 13. So negative 10 and negative 4. Yes. Mm-hmm. Here's the slope, and that's correct. That's the slope of this line, negative 5. But we have to find the negative that should before it since it's perpendicular. So if I plot this would make what? Good. And I change the sign so it's positive 1 over 5, right? That's what needs to go right here. That's great. How'd you erase it?
if everybody's done doing, compare your graphs, your functions with each other. If one person can tell me the correct equation for both of them, you can draw out of the box. Anybody want to try? Go ahead. Everybody listen. Bring it on in.
Okay.
So if you can tell me the correct one for both of them, you can draw the box.
Y equals 1 over 5.
Hold on a second. People are still talking and being disrespectful while you're trying to talk. Go ahead.
Y equals 1 over 5x minus 13 over 5.
Next one.
Y equals 4 over 3x plus 2.
Good. Now here's the answer for both of these. Do I need to go over one of these? Did anybody put this as a decimal instead? What y'all have? Good. So this could have been like this also. Do I need to go over either one of these? So everybody got these on their own and feels good about it. Alright, time for your checkpoint. You can use your notes on this one.